Want to make a quick million? Easy. Put $500,000 on a horse offering 2-to-1 odds. I'm joking, of course. Gambling is a surefire way to lose money. Here's another bad joke solution. Put $10,000 into a savings account and wait 50 years. Yep, half a century. That's how long it takes for 10 grand to grow into $1 million at 9% per annum. At interest of 4.5%, a more realistic after-tax rate, you'd have to wait over 100 years. These answers are bad jokes. I mention them only to frame our terms of reference. What are we talking about here? For most of us, a surefire way to make $1 million means a method of turning a fairly small amount of money into a fairly large amount of money in a reasonably short period of time with little or no risk. If you have already made your first $1 million, you might have a different perspective. In this case, you'd most likely be happy to make a second $1 million by doubling your money in, say, 2 years. Let's work with 3 scenarios. 1. You have capital of $100,000 and you'd like to turn it into $1 million. 2. You don't have any capital and can only afford to save around 1,000 Rand a month, but you'd like to be a millionaire. 3. You have $1 million and you'd like to turn it into $2 million. What I'm going to show you now is how the stock market, if you follow the right approach, makes all these outcomes very achievable. Let's start with scenario 1. To turn 100,000 into $1 million, you need a 10-bagger, a share that increases 1,000% in value. Take PSG, for example. In May 2004, they were trading at R2.60 a share. By December 2006, 2.5 years later, they had climbed to 26 Rand. MTN, 12 Rand a share in 2003, was trading at over 120 Rand by 2007, 100,000 into $1 million in less than 5 years. I'm not quoting price extremes here. You could have bought MTN at under 10 Rand in 2002, and you could have sold them at over 150 in 2008. You could have sold PSG at 30 Rand a share if you'd waited another 6 months. And these are not the most radical examples. From March 2003 to November 2007, less than 5 years, 100,000 Rand in Pinnacle Technology shares would have grown to 5 million. By this year, that 100,000 Rand had grown to a staggering 15 million. PSG, by the way, is now trading at 60 Rand a share. That's all very well, I hear you say, but surely shares like these are rarer than hen's teeth. Here's the really good news. Over the last 10 years, at least 100 shares have been 10-baggers. Some went up tenfold in just 4 years, others took longer. But it's not like you had to find the one unique share that went up 10 times. There were lots to choose from. All you needed was the right tools to find them. And make no mistake, similar opportunities are available to you in the stock market right now. Let's turn to scenario 2. To turn a monthly savings amount into $1 million, you need a strong growth share with a good dividend yield and a bit of patience. For example, just 1,000 Rand a month invested in famous brands from January 2002 would have been worth $1 million by July 2010. 8.5 years is quite a stretch, I hear you say. But consider this. At current interest rates, using a savings account, it would take you 3 decades to turn 1,000 a month into $1 million. And in the case of famous brands, your $1 million grew from an actual cash investment of just 103,000 Rand made in monthly installments. Not to be sneezed at. One of the advantages of monthly saving is Rand cost averaging. When the share price falls, your average cost comes down, giving you a better return when the price rises. And the power of a growing dividend should not be underestimated. By 2010, your dividends from famous brands were almost double your monthly contributions the year before. Which brings us to scenario 3. You've made your first $1 million and you're after your second. Easy. Find a share that's going to double in value and invest $1 million. Believe it or not, this is much easier than our first 2 scenarios. It's the old story, the rich get richer. Once you have some real money, it's a lot easier to make more money. But hold the phone, I hear you say. Isn't that like finding the 2-to-1 horse at the races? The answer is emphatically no. Firstly, in any 2-year period, on average, around a third of listed shares will double in value. Even over the period of the 2008 crash, over 60 shares doubled in price. Secondly, if you lose on a horse, you lose all your capital instantly. If you choose an average share instead of a 10-bagger, however, the odds are that you'll still make money, just not quite as much as you had hoped. Clearly, the secret is share selection. At any point in time, 1 out of every 2 shares is going to outperform the market. Over a 2-year period, 1 out of every 3 shares is likely to double. Over a 10-year period, 1 out of every 5 shares is a potential 10-bagger. The million-dollar question is, how do you find these shares? The answer lies in the details of the underlying businesses. In the long run, the companies that outperform the rest are in the right business at the right time, are well managed, and know how to grow. This is not true in the short term, which is precisely the reason that many people think the stock market is a fickle place. But over the medium to long term, it is good businesses that reward shareholders. As Warren Buffett once said, in the short term, the market is a popularity contest. In the long run, it's a weighing machine. Or to put it differently, in the longer term, business performance rather than sentiment will determine share price. Now, contrary to what pure chartists believe, you can't gauge business performance by looking at the share price. Picking stocks based purely on the charts is like buying a house without ever examining the property. The facade might look good, but you never know what's around the back. Armed with share magic, it's surprisingly easy to get the facts and figures you need to identify quality companies with growth potential, the ones that can double your money in 2 years or turn 100,000 into $1 million. You can learn more about share magic by clicking on the link at the end of the video or call 0800 000 597 today to arrange a no-obligation demonstration of what share magic can do for you.